Hi, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two compelling Formula One fans. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your Copacabana host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1978 season, part 2. So let's go.
Right, Copacabana. I do like that song.
Yes, do you know who sings it?
Oh, no, I'm really bad with artists' names.
I didn't know
I can picture
exactly.
them, but I don't know them. Tell me.
It's Barry Manilow.
Of course.
And I looked, I also watched that video on YouTube from 78. It is the most camp song I've ever seen. That video clip is so camp, and he is so hamming it up big time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't mind Barry Manilow. I don't mind a lot of his songs, I don't think. Well, I've used the word compelling. I don't know if that's going to be what we see this season, but I'm starting off with high hopes.
I think so. I think it's a good season.
Okay.
So let's see.
All right.
So we're up to race 1, the Argentinian Grand Prix, Interlagos, 15th of Jan, 53 laps, and the weather was hot.
So straight up, Reutemann in the Ferrari and Andretti in the Lotus were the pace setters. Plus, Goodyear was having their first opposition in more than 3 years because, as we said, Ferrari was using those Michelins.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how competitive they are.
Yeah.
Andretti, after dealing with many teething issues early in practice, eventually secured pole by only 0.09 seconds ahead of Reutemann. Petersen in the second Lotus was third, followed by Watson, then Lauda in the Brabhams. And last year's winner on debut, remember Scheckter in the Wolf? He was way down in 15th, so not a great start.
Oh, poor Scheckter and poor Wolf, like one of the cool names on the grid. We want to see them up the top.
Yeah.
So race day was hot and sunny, and most of the teams were focusing on making sure they had the right tyres for the race conditions. See, this is the days where they didn't get dictated which tyres to use too, my tyre hate season.
Yeah.
Yes, I like it when they had unlike today, they had a wider range of tyres to choose from.
So
I think it's better.
Yeah. Well, at the green light, Andretti made one of his customary great starts, followed closely by Reutemann and Petersen. And in fact, Petersen made an attempt on Reutemann in the Ferrari, but the door was abruptly closed by the Argentinian.
The crowd was fixated on Reutemann, obviously, being the hometown hero, but it wasn't looking good for the Ferrari at the end of the first lap, as Andretti had already built up a 2-second lead. Petersen was third, Lauda fourth, and Watson fifth. So those Brabhams are up there, Louis?
Up there in the back end up there of the points. Because remember, only the first 6 get points in this season. Yeah. But unfortunately for the local fans, obviously their focus, as you said, was on their local hero. Reutemann was struggling to even hold on to second because Watson in that Brabham was all over his gearbox. Watson was on a charge, having passed his teammate Lauda for fourth.
Wow.
And then Petersen for third, all within 3 laps. So Watson's really doing well.
That is awesome. He wasn't happy with third, and within another 3 laps, he had overtaken Reutemann, and now he had his sights set on the leading Andretti. Meanwhile, Lauda, maybe inspired or possibly even upset by the fact that he was passed by his teammate, he quickly passed Petersen and now was pressing the Ferrari of his ex-teammate Reutemann.
And he would have taken a lot of joy in hounding that Ferrari, right?
That's right.
Up front, Andretti had built a solid lead of around 15 seconds ahead of Watson, with Reutemann now struggling with tyre grip due to his decision to use the hard compound Michelin tyres, and he was now struggling to hold third place. As a result, by lap 14, Lauda had moved up to third himself, and Depailler in the Tyrrell had now moved up to fourth, so Reutemann was now slipping back.
That's a good drive by Depailler. He qualified 10th, So he's now up to 4th, and that was all overtaking on track. So that's pretty good drive.
Yeah.
And he's in the Tyrrell, isn't he? Yes.
Yeah.
So all the while, everyone was taking turns passing at Reutemann, who had made a very bad call on his tyres, until about lap 27, when he realised he was fighting a losing battle and pitted for new Michelin softs. But as a result, he would fall back to 15th place.
And Reutemann, though, would start a strong fight back, but he would still end up finishing 7th, just out of the points. So that's the end of his story for this race, I guess.
Yes. So at the 40-lap mark, Andretti was sitting pretty in the lead, but instead of Watson in second, it was Lauda's Brabham. Watson had to retire with an engine issue, and this moved Depailler up into 3rd place. Remember, from 10th.
Yeah. And remember, Tyrrell had their worst season to date in 77.
Yes.
So it was a good start for that Tyrrell team.
Yes.
The race was quite processional from this point, and even the midfield was not giving us much entertainment, to be honest.
So the only race drama was at the end when Fangio, who was flying the flag, accidentally mistook Petersen's 5th place Lotus as that of Andretti's, who was in the lead, and waved the checkered flag 1 lap too early. It caused a lot of confusion, but the race result wasn't impacted by it. Poor Fangio. Couldn't they help him out?
I know. I mean, how obvious were those numbers and how different were their helmets?
Yeah.
If I recall, Petersen has a yellow helmet. So it would have been pretty obvious.
Familiar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Andretti ended up winning the race by 13 seconds. Lauda was second, and he was actually fending off the challenge of Depailler in the Tyrrell. So Tyrrell, he tried for second as well. Hunt was 4th in the McLaren. I'd call that in a pretty quiet 4th place. Wow. We didn't hear much from him at all.
No.
And
that's right.
And he was only a couple of seconds behind Depailler. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th were pretty tight.
And the tyre choice for Ferrari, bad. And Lauda's beaten Ferrari in his first race for Brabham.
Yeah.
You'd be pretty happy about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So Andretti then is in the lead of the championship table on 9 points. Lauda is second on 6 points, and Depailler is third on 4 points. And in the constructors, we've got Lotus on 9, Brabham on 6, and Tyrrell on 4. Weirdly, Brabham's the only team in the championship not using a Cosworth Ford engine, or Ford engine now. They're using the Alfa Romeo engine.
Except Ferrari with their V12.
Yeah, but they're not even on in the top 4. They're nowhere.
Oh,
Louis.
I see. Oh, you mean on the ladder? Yeah. Okay,
in the ladder. Yeah, Ferrari. They're
not there yet.
No.
Let's see if they get there. So race 2 of 16, the Brazilian Grand Prix. So it's at Rio, so not the usual Sao Paulo. January 29, 63 laps, and the weather this time was very hot. So after 6 years at Interlagos, which is Sao Paulo, this year's race was held at Rio, and the track had many long radius corners mixed with numerous short straights.
Yeah, the track surface was very bumpy. So with the tight layout, passing would be a challenge for the drivers. And this is before we talk about how it's about 30 degrees Celsius in the shade, which meant that drivers would need extra ventilation and cooling.
And just to put this in perspective, in the 2025 Singapore Grand Prix, because of the heat and the humidity, they introduced special cooling systems that were mandatory in all the cars, but it was optional for the drivers to activate it.
Yes.
Now, that's in 2025. In 1978, I doubt they did anything.
I doubt it too.
So we also welcomed the Arrows team with their presently not yet illegal FA1 car and driven by Ricardo Patrese.
Ricardo Patrese. I like how you say their new FA1 car, but it's probably just the same shadow car.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So when practice started, it was initially Hunt in the McLaren and Andretti in the Lotus, who were the pace setters, with the big wide corners playing perfectly to the Lotus's ground effect car.
Yeah, and of great joy to the crowd, the local crowd. Even Fittipaldi in the Fittipaldi proved suited to the track and was in the top group of drivers. It's been a very long time since we last talked about Fittipaldi, hasn't it?
Yeah, probably at the last Brazilian race, Louis. They tend to do well here.
Yeah.
I think they make sure they do well at their home race.
Yeah.
So when it came to the final practice session, which set the grid, there were a very eager 27 drivers vying for 24 positions. So while there was a great drive from the back markers to make the race, there was a huge battle for pole position.
Yeah, and the battle for pole was up for anyone because 6 drivers broke the 1 minute 41 barrier and all were capable of taking pole. And this was including Andretti in the Lotus, Hunt in the McLaren, Petersen in the Lotus, Reutemann in the Ferrari, Tambay in the McLaren and Villeneuve in the Ferrari. So a real mix there.
Where's the Brabhams, you ask? Well, surprisingly, they are missing, but they were not having a good time here. Anyway, the other drivers were continually trimming the pole time right through the session, and it would have been electrifying to watch, Louis, as the times kept tumbling down with every lap.
Yeah, and Hunt set a time eventually of 1 minute 40.53, and he did this time with 10 minutes to go, and he pretty much felt that this was the best time possible for him and the car. The remaining drivers persisted.
Out. Yeah, he sat down. He did the old Jackie Stewart trick. That's it. I'm done.
And the Niki Lauda trick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was wrong because it was Petersen in the Lotus who persisted and he eclipsed Hunt's time and took pole.
Oh, that's bad. Isn't that bad? Like at least when Lauda and Stewart did it, no one got near their pole time. But Hunt, what are you doing? Andretti, on the other hand, he was upset. He felt he was hindered by traffic issues, not that old chestnut.
Yeah.
However, he was still third on the grid. The remainder of the top 6 battle was Reutemann, Tambay and Villeneuve. In that order.
You don't seem as familiar with the name Tambay. You remember he was in the 80s, right?
I don't really remember him that much.
He stopped in the mid-80s, so maybe that's why.
Remember, I was late 80. I reckon I was Alan Jones onward. Or no, not Alan Jones. I was 85-ish onwards, I reckon.
Yeah, so Tambay would have been in the back marker at that stage.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So amazingly, Fittipaldi qualified an impressive 7th. Meanwhile, the Brabhams were still in all sorts of trouble. Surprising considering they were competitive in the last race.
I know.
They were experimenting with different nose cones. And at one point it seemed Watson may not even qualify. That's how bad it was until Lauda let Watson use his car and Watson just scraped through to be second to last or second to be on the second to last row, sorry. While Lauda himself was, 10th. So not 10th. Very high up.
So Louis, Lauda let Watson use his car.
I guess it's early days in that teammate friendship. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I know. Unusual. I know, but Lauda's a good guy. I'm going to just say he's a good guy. Like, I don't see other drivers doing that. Do you? At this stage, like in this era,
not really. Although I'm sure Lauda, like, whether he said it or not, words were said about not crashing his car. You know, like I'm sure Lauda wasn't like, have fun, go for it. It's like, I want my car back in one piece, thank you.
Do you think it was the team that made him give up his car to Watson to try to get him to qualify, or did he do it?
I reckon the team probably asked Lauda. That's my theory, because Lauda wouldn't have volunteered it necessarily. That probably wasn't averse to it at this early stage of the season.
Yeah, okay. All right. So when it came to the very hot race day, the drivers were confronted with the challenge of the most ideal tyres. So let's see if Ferrari choose the right ones this time. Plus, other drivers were having a range of technical issues during the warm-up, which included Lafitte in the Ligier and, unfortunately, Louis, for the hometown, Fittipaldi.
Well, that's what happens when you join that team. Yeah. At race start, for Reutemann in the Ferrari made a brilliant start and he shot around the 2 front row drivers and took the lead. Part of this was helped by Petersen developing too much wheel spin, but he was still able to hold off Hunt and slot into second place.
So he did choose the right tyres this time, Louis. Well, for the start, anyway. He might be on soft.
Let's see if they keep going.
Let's see if they last, Andretti slotted right in behind Hunt's McLaren to take third, I think, at this stage. Or is it fourth? No, fourth, yes, because Hunt's third. Yeah. By the end of the first lap, Reutemann was already starting to create a gap to Petersen.
And it seemed that Petersen was having oversteer issues already. So when Hunt got passed into second place in the McLaren, he then discovered there was little he could do to stop Reutemann from continuing to pull away.
So Reutemann was pulling away at about 2 seconds a lap, and even Hunt was now struggling with his tyres. And on lap 9 of a 63-lap race, Hunt dove into the pits for harder compound tyres. Oh, so maybe the hards are working on this track, Louis.
Yeah, that's a very early pit stop, and considering the pit stops in these days were not fast. So that would have really pushed him down. And where did this pace from Reutemann come from?
Yes.
In the meantime, Andretti now drove past his oversteering teammate Petersen and found himself in second place, especially after once Hunt pitted for new rubber. But Andretti was also struggling with oversteer, and try as he might, there was very little he could do to stop Reutemann from continuing to extend his lead.
Meanwhile, Villeneuve was making some good progress in the other Ferrari, and more importantly to the Brazilian crowd and to Luigi, because I know how much you love him, so was Fittipaldi. By lap 12, Fittipaldi was now in third because he had overtaken Petersen, and Petersen was slowly falling away due to his oversteering issues.
Wonder if he needed to do a pit stop like Hunt did.
Yes.
And I'm not anti-Fittipaldi. I'm anti the decision he made.
Yes, I know. I know you actually do love Fittipaldi as a driver.
Yeah, I think he's a really good driver.
To see him more success, yes.
Yeah, and I would go so far as to say probably the best sideburns in Formula One history. Probably.
Yes. Yeah, I'll back you in on that one, Louis.
Yeah. So back to the race. So this is the first time we're sort of mentioning Villeneuve too, remember? Because we didn't say much about Villeneuve in the first race. So Villeneuve was next behind Petersen, the oversteering Petersen. But as the two drivers reached braking points for one of the long left-handers, Petersen refused to budge, and Villeneuve was equally determined to get past that old chestnut. The result was that both cars collided, which led to both cars spinning off into the grass.
So while both of them managed to get going again and race to the pits for attention, Petersen would pull up with a broken rear suspension. So I think Villeneuve could keep going, but Petersen didn't. Further back, there was a range of wheel banging incidents involving Scheckter with Tombe, Patrese and Watson, and a few more down the back of the grid.
Yeah. At the front, at the 20-lap mark, already Reutemann had built a 30-second lead, which is huge.
Wow.
While Andretti was securely holding second and Fittipaldi was still third, with the Brazilian driver managing a steering vibration due to a tyre issue.
Further back, driving consistently, Lauda was now sitting in fourth place. That's pretty good because he was 10th on the grid, remember?
Yeah.
And Tombe was fifth as a result of the dramas ahead of him, particularly with Hunt and Petersen.
Lauda was lucky to be there, though, because Stuck's car lost a wheel balance weight and it had flown right past Lauda's head and lodged itself into his rear wing. He was very lucky. He was very lucky that day because when you think let's think about what happened to Helmut Marko when, what was it? I can't remember what the part was, but it pierced his visor. It was a stone, yeah. So, Lauda was very lucky that day for no injury to him.
God, this guy's got the best luck, really, I've ever seen.
Lauda?
Yes. Well, he survived a pretty bad fire.
And he survived Ferrari politics.
Yes.
I don't know which is greater. I think the politics of Ferrari may have been greater than the 76 accident, but anyway.
Yes, I think so. Meanwhile, Villeneuve went off and out of the race as he ploughed through a range of catch fences. So, still not used to the wheels instead of the skis. Tombe spun and was also out, as well as a few other drivers, which we don't really mention.
Yeah. Lap 45, Reutemann's Ferrari was still going strongly. I haven't looked ahead. I can't remember, but this has got retirement written all over it, hasn't it?
No, don't say that.
Ferrari was going strongly, and there were now only 11 drivers left circulating, so a lot of retirements. 10 laps to go. The crowd lit up, though, as Fittipaldi had moved up into second place at Andretti's expense.
Get out. Wow. Andretti's Lotus had suddenly jammed into fourth gear, and he was quickly passed by Lauda as well. So meanwhile, Reutemann continued and just 5 laps later took the checkered flag to win the Brazilian Grand Prix for the second year in a row, this year by 49 seconds.
Yeah, what a dominant result.
Yes.
This would be Michelin's first F1 victory in the modern era being from 1950 when the championship started. Fittipaldi would finish in second place, very impressive. Lauda third. Meanwhile, Andretti held on for fourth despite the gear issue. Regazzoni would do extremely well to finish fifth from 15th on the grid, and Pironi in the Tyrrell would get points in only his second ever F1 race.
Good on Pironi. Well done. And Regazzoni, what was he driving? Ensign or Shadow? Something like that.
I'll look it up while you do that thing.
So to the Drivers' Championship standings, we have Andretti in the lead on 12, Niki Lauda's on 10, Reutemann is on 9, Fittipaldi on 6. So he's up there. And on the constructors, we've got Lotus on 12, Brabham on 10, and Ferrari on 9. Fittipaldi on 6.
Okay, and Ensign, he was not an Ensign? He was in your favourite name team, Shadow.
Yeah. I thought it was either the Shadow or the Ensign. Yeah. That's a pretty good result. Yeah.
Very good result. And embrace it. There's not much more coming from him. So let's remember. I mean, he's not in Ferrari anymore, is he? So, yeah.
I remember fondly him staying in the way of, was it Andretti wouldn't let him pass?
Was it Fittipaldi?
Got black flagged.
I think it was Fittipaldi. I think he was blocking Fittipaldi.
Yes, it was. It was Fittipaldi.
Yeah.
I remember that fondly.
So we're up to race 3 of 6, at 16, the South African Grand Prix. So it's at Kyalami, 4th of March, 78 laps, and the weather was hot. So as there had been a month-long gap since the last race, many teams were very, very busy, and there were now 12 brand new cars amongst the 10 teams. So this is sort of like the real 78 season opener.
Yes.
And when you think about how many cars retired in the last race, what's going to happen in this race? Because when you get new cars, you normally have retirements, right? But
yes. This is like the old days, Louis, when a lot of the teams brought their old cars for the first few races of the year, and then debuted their new cars later in the year. But anyway, we also have the debut of Rennie Arnoux, in the Martini, and Keke Rosberg in the Theodore. So we'll see how they go in their first F1 races. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as the track was ready, Lauda meant business. Both Lauda and Andretti were quickly setting the pace. However, by the end of the 90-minute session, Lauda had lapped an incredible 1.5 seconds faster than Hunt's pole time of 77.
Wow. He's really taking that Brabham up the grid, isn't he?
Yeah.
The time he set was considered an almost perfect day for the Brabham, except when Lauda ran into the back of Jarier in the ATS, causing his car to temporarily become airborne and resulting in a radiator issue. Luckily, that was all the only damage that was caused.
Yeah. Andretti was moderately close behind, 0.25 behind Lauda, followed by Hunt in the McLaren, Tombe in the McLaren, Scheckter still in that Wolf, and Jabouillet. Yes, I said Jabouillet. Jabouillet in the Renault.
Wow. We haven't talked about Renault at all. So that's a really good result. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's only the first practice, right?
Yeah.
I do have a soft spot for this team. They've really persisted for a long time with that turbo engine. Mm-hmm. And the young Patrese qualified in his Arrows in 7th, which was an amazing effort as he had significant car issues through practice. So this wasn't just – this was the final qualifying, not the practice session.
Oh, it was the final
so it's very impressive, both for Patrese and the Renault.
You do have a soft spot for Renault.
Yeah.
It kind of carries through all the way through. Probably not to today, though. But I reckon in the 80s you loved the Renault team. Was they the yellow team? That was a yellow car, wasn't it?
Yeah, yellow. And they were just so radical to have that 1.5 litre turbo. Yeah. Everyone else had like V12 monster engines. They were just going against the grain, and it was cool and dynamic and unusual for a country team. What I mean by that is like Ferrari represents Italy. Renault was sort of representing France. And I think from memory, I think they even had government money.
Oh, did they?
I'm pretty sure they had government funding to like the pride of France. And remember, half the team are French drivers in this era.
Yes,
Yeah. Mm.
So, Louis, you've got this in the notes now, but I did read that so what you've got in the notes for me to say is that this is the 300th F1 championship race, which excludes the Indy 500 from the 1950s.
Yeah.
Which means this is our 300th episode. That's
just
huge.
Came out of nowhere, didn't it?
But I've read that it's actually later in the season. So I don't know, maybe there's some counting. I need to audit the numbers or something. But anyway, yay for us. Let's keep going.
Yeah, yay us.
Yay us, yeah. And to reward us, we have the race start, an old classic, an old F1 time portal classic, a nonsense start, which Mike Lang is again referring to as muffing a gear change. He likes the word muffing, doesn't he? I think he's trying to be like hip and cool. Yeah. Lauda left the line very well, but then he muffed a gear change.
And that's all Andretti needed, as he charged past on the outside and was leading the pack. In the meantime, Lauda was very busy trying to stop Hunt from nipping through from the inside.
However, Scheckter from third row was attacking Lauda from the outside, and so he took second place from Lauda. That's a lot of drama and very opportunistic by Scheckter. What was he driving? He was driving the
Wolf.
The Wolf.
Yeah, and he's always been a very aggressive driver, hasn't he?
Aggressive, yes. Yeah.
After the first corner, it was Andretti leading, then Scheckter. Lauda, Hunt, Jabouillet, Patrese, so the Renault and the Arrows, Watson in the Brabham, Reutemann in the Ferrari, the hero of last race, and the rest. So my question to you, Rosa, does this qualify as a nonsense start? Because Lauda went from first to third. He muffed a gear change. That's,
I'm going to say it wasn't a nonsense start. I'm going to say no. He's third. First to third is not nonsense. You have to lose at least 8 places, I think we said.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm going to call it? I'm going to say if it was anyone other than Lauda, he probably would have ended up 8th.
Yes, he recovered very well, yes.
Yeah. So very quickly to the race, Andretti was asserting himself at the front, while the group of Scheckter, Lauda, Hunt pulled away from the rest of the field, battling for second place amongst themselves.
Yeah, that wasn't until Hunt retired on lap 5 due to a blown engine.
That's early.
Yeah.
And Patrese, an amazing position. He qualified 7th, and Jabouillet in the Renault was causing all sorts of grief and challenging him. So these guys were up there.
Yeah, that Renault was super slow in the corners, Louis. So the turbo wasn't able to wasn't being used very well, and it had an undersized engine as well. Oh, interesting. But it was incredibly fast on the straights due to its turbo, but it wasn't working in the corners, unfortunately.
Which would have made it a hard car to pass, because going slow on the straights, it was probably just fast enough to not be easy to pass, but fast enough to get away. But it had turbo lag too, because it's early days turbo, remember?
Yes.
At the front, though, by lap 15, Andretti was leading by 4 seconds. However, his left front tyre was overheating and he had to reduce his pace. This was helped by the fact that both Scheckter in the Wolf and Lauda in the Brabham were also struggling with overheating tyres. But Patrese in the Arrows was now right on their tail. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, this is very pressure racing here. They can only press on for a certain period of time. Like you can't drive at that pressure, pushing your car that whole time. So by lap 19, Andretti could no longer contain Scheckter, who went past under braking at the end of the straight. Even Patrese quickly passed Andretti, and soon Andretti was in 5th place. I like how we say even Patrese. I mean,
I think he's definitely got an anti-Italian thing.
Yeah. Yes.
He was attacking Brambilla, remember?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And he's found a new person to attack.
I know. Patrese, unfortunately, Patrese gets a lot of criticism throughout his career.
Undeservedly, I think.
I think so too. So too, Louis. Yeah.
So this is a South African reminder because we have a South African leading.
Ah, yes, yeah. Scheckter. Yeah.
So remember John Love? Well, this is your new hero, South Africa. So, but not for long though, because Scheckter was now struggling with tyres as well. Remember the reason why Andretti slipped because of tyres. And so by lap 27, Scheckter lost the lead to none other than Riccardo Patrese in that new Arrows.
Wow. And to make the South African crowd even more upset, he was quickly pushed back even further by the following drivers behind him. So by lap 30, Patrese was leading and pulling away. Then it was Depailler, Lauda, Scheckter, Andretti, and the rest of them.
Yeah. And Depailler, where did he come from? He qualified 11th. He's in the new Tyrrell, remember? But that new Tyrrell's making a race of it. So if this is the new Tyrrell, this must be the first four-wheeled Tyrrell since 75.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, no. They started 76 with the four-wheeler for a bit, I remember.
That's right.
So,
and then,
Still impressive.
Yes. So at the halfway mark, Patrese was fast disappearing into the horizon. Good on Patrese.
Yeah.
And was looking like giving Arrows their first ever win in only their second ever Formula One race.
They must have not done Brazil and Argentina. They must have only done one.
They must
Unless
have only
it's
done
their
one.
third.
Yeah, because because you said we welcomed the Arrows team in the last race.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they didn't do Argentina. Yeah.
Okay. So, meanwhile, Andretti was coming back. And it was not long before Andretti charged past those in front. And now he was in 3rd place behind Patrese and Depailler as Lauda retired with his blown Alfa Romeo engine.
Oh, poor Lauda. So, I don't know, can Patrese hold off for charging Andretti in the Lotus? We'll see.
Yeah. I want the underdog to win. We all want the underdog to win. Yeah.
Patrese, yes. I have a romantic soft spot for Patrese.
Yeah.
We then see an incident with Keegan in his Surtees. This is interesting, Louis, that we're mentioning this, but we'll see. You're mentioning it for a reason, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So he was in 16th position and his oil pipe cracked. Oh, yes, I can see what's happening now. The driver, he left an oil slick on the track most of the way around the track. And Villeneuve also left an oil slick on the track. So did Keegan hit Villeneuve, did he?
I think they just both had issues with their cars.
Okay. And they left oil.
And the oil is the reason. So that's why they mentioned.
You wanted to introduce the oil slick, I see.
Yeah, so welcome to oil. Welcome oil to the race. So minutes later, after battling Reutemann and Tournbay came across the oil warning flag. So they had warning flags. But in avoiding one, they both spun on another. Because remember, there were 2 sets of oil slicks. And were both out of the race. And this also caught out Scheckter.
Oh, no. So far, we're up to lap 64 of 78, and Patrese was looking just a shoo-in for victory. And guess what happens now, Louis? His engine blows. So a very dejected Patrese and Rosa pulled up and began with a long walk back to the pits.
I also feel dejected. So Paul Patrese.
Yes.
I'm sure in the redo episodes, I'm sure Patrese is going to get the points. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, lap 64 of 78. Come on.
I know. So Depailler drove through into the lead. So Andretti was 7 seconds further back in second, and and Petersen was in third, right behind his team leader Andretti. And the two Lotus drivers worked to catch the Tyrrell.
Did they work together, Louis, to catch the Tyrrell? Did they?
I think so. Why not? Yeah.
Like they did in the F1 movie.
Yeah. Without the radios telling them to do it. But let's see.
That's right. So with just 3 laps remaining, Depayer's Tyrrell started to emit the dreaded blue smoke, and Andretti suddenly spluttered into the pits, running out of fuel. Jeepers, this is like a 1960s or 50s race, Louis.
Wow, and 3 laps to go. I mean, just to remember, Patrese was ahead of all of these guys not long ago, and these guys are all falling over. So
that's right.
You wouldn't want to be one of those people, this race is all done and dusted. I'll leave early. I'll leave early to avoid the crowds, avoid the traffic. You're missing out.
And we're going to see like a new winner here. We're going to see like out of the blue winner. Anyway,
I think
let's
so.
Keep going.
Yeah. So this gave Petersen clear space to chase after Tyrrell, and this he did. And it came to the final lap when Depailler and the Tyrrell dove down the inside of Rebac's privately owned Lotus, only to have his Tyrrell suddenly slow due to a fuel pickup problem.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So instead of Rebuck being lapped, he began to pull away from the hapless Tyrrell. This was all Petersen needed to make a move. Petersen was right on the Tyrrell's tail, and as they reached one of the sweeping corners, Petersen pulled up next to the Tyrrell.
And remember, this is the last lap of the race. Not many times. In fact, I think they've, in previous races in recent times, they've talked about the number of times the lead changed on the last lap. It's not often. It's like maybe it's less than 10 or 20 times in all of history. Right. So this is one of those moments, everyone. So Petersen pulled alongside Depailler and stayed there all the way around with neither driver giving way. The cars banged wheels. That's how desperate they were to win this race. Petersen stuck it out, and now Petersen had the inside line and Depailler had to concede.
Oh, come on. Why did he have to concede? Petersen would go on to win the race by a few car lengths, while Watson came home in third, followed by Jones. There we go. We see Jones, Lafitte and Pironi collecting another point for Tyrrell and himself in only his third race.
Yeah, so what a race. And with 5 different leaders and a lead change on the last lap, very exciting. So it's making for an exciting championship, especially when you tell us the championship standings after, 3 races?
Yes, so we have Andretti on 12 points, Petersen up in second now on 11 points, Depailler and Lauda equal on 10 points, and Reutemann on 9 points. And on the constructors, we've got Lotus on 21 points, Brabham on 14, Tyrrell on 11, and Ferrari on 9.
Wow, it's 4 points between those top 5 drivers. And we haven't gone down further, but there might be someone else on 9, I don't know. But anyway, that's super tight. It's very exciting.
Yes. All right, we're going to leave it there, and we'll come back for the next part, which I think is part 3.
Part 3. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.